Hi, Jim Gebhardt, creator of the 401k Advantage. Welcome back. Thanks for watching video number 1, and I've got a question for you. Did you do your homework? I hope so, but if you didn't, I'd really encourage you to take a break, stop the video, and make the time to go through the homework assignment. Okay, so let's jump into video number 2. In today's video, I want to share life skills and habits that I've used over the past 10 years to better prepare you to handle the stress and challenges that arise around your relationship to money, your financial future, and in particular, around your 401k. In my 15 years as a financial advisor, I've come to the conclusion that most 401k participants don't feel confident about what they're doing with their company retirement accounts. Worse is the fact that many 401k participants don't know where to go to get more help and guidance. They feel lost or stuck. Now, unlike most financial advisors, I take the time to assess the underlying conditions that exist when we don't feel confident about what we're doing. So whether you ultimately become a member of the 401k Advantage family or not, this information in these videos are to help you develop new skills and habits so you'll be better equipped to deal with stress, worry, and fear around money. My ultimate goal is for you to have a greater sense of confidence, clarity, and capability about what you're doing with your hard-earned 401k assets. If we're successful in helping you accomplish this, then the likelihood is you'll also have greater peace of mind around your financial future. That's powerful. Now, in video number 1, you'll recall my struggle with owning 2 homes simultaneously for 51 weeks, and my wife and I found out we were surprisingly pregnant with baby number 4. Well, we finally sold the house after 5 escrows, and we dedicated that summer to digging out of the hole we found ourselves in and preparing for baby number 4. In early September of '08, the financial crisis erupts, and what took me 12 years to build begins crumbling in the matter of weeks, right before my very eyes, and in the middle of it all, our son Grant's born. Fast forward to the end of March, the bottom of the market hits, and I take a vow to myself, to my clients, that I've got to be willing to adapt and grow and change so I'm better prepared the next time massive amounts of stress arrive on my doorstep unexpectedly. I share my story with you because I know all too well that those close to you may have suffered through something similar. The loss of your business, the loss of your job, your house, your health, your marriage, your life savings. The pain of that is very real, and I fundamentally believe that if you're open to the possibility, there's a gift inside of experiencing that loss. There is something each of us can learn to make us better by going through our own crucible. You know, many people have asked me when I've shared my story with them, how did I get through it? How did I deal with all of that stress? And my answer comes from spending really the past 20 years studying and reading, attending lectures and conferences, workshops, coaching programs, audiobooks, interviewing and spending time with thought leaders, all with a very deep pursuit of wanting to learn and grow as an individual, as a father, as a husband, an entrepreneur, and ultimately as a financial advisor. This video series was created to help you accelerate your progress so you don't have to spend the next 20 years doing what I've already done. And we can save you the thousands of hours and the thousands of dollars that I spent gathering all that wisdom. And with that, that's part of what I want to share with you today. So during my struggle, the cornerstones of courage that I would lean on come from what I call the 4A formula. And the first A is attitudes. Attitudes are easily worn like an old pair of shoes. We get very comfortable wearing them. And whether they're good or bad, or grateful or hateful, we need to be more aware of the attitudes we use to craft our life. How do you change worn out attitudes? With the power of gratitude. I have found gratitude to be the most incredible antioxidant for anger and jealousy and regret and resentment and false pride and ego and superiority and all of these kinds of things. And how do you do it? You do it by developing a habit where you write down 3 things that you're grateful for every day. They don't need to be monumental things. They could be something as simple as a great conversation you had with your daughter or your neighbor. And during my darkest days in 2008, I made it a point to journal gratitude daily. Some days were harder than others, frankly. And eventually I learned to express the gratitude openly. And as my friends and clients and family and coworkers would all attest, we now start every meeting at my business and most dinners at our home with the simple exercise of sharing something you're grateful for. There are numerous studies that show the positive physiological effects of expressing gratitude. You're chemically altered in a good way when you share something you're grateful for. Watch how easy it is. I am so grateful for the opportunity for you to watch these videos and for me to be able to share a small piece of what I've learned in my lifetime. That is incredibly rewarding because I'm so passionate about wanting people to have better lives and worry less about money. To think others may benefit from things that I've done or I've gone through in my life is an incredible feeling. Okay, there you go. Now it's your turn. So tonight, tomorrow morning, start with writing down a few things you're grateful for, or start a new family tradition at your dining table with going around and sharing some gratitude. Give it a try. Okay, number 2, the second A, actions. When you are full of fear, stress, and worry, it's very difficult to take any meaningful action. That's why I refer to it as being paralyzed, because you become frozen and unable to take any action. This shows up in 401k with 401k participants all the time because it's very difficult for them to make any changes to what they're doing, so they just keep doing what they've always done and hope for better or different results. Does that sound familiar at all? So how do you break this cycle? Well, you've got to start by asking yourself, what progress can I do today? What is the smallest step I can take forward to get in motion? And if you're watching this video, you're already in motion, and I commend you for that. Remember that you only need to raise the anchor a half an inch off the bottom of the lake to get in motion. And this concept applies to much more than just getting your financial future in order, which is why I feel it is so powerful. Try it on in other areas of your life. You know, around actions, I've always tried to set up my day to tackle the hardest tasks at the beginning of the day, when I was the freshest. It wasn't always the case that I could do that, but I found focusing on the task at hand as early in the day as I could was one of the basic ways that I stayed sane during the great crisis of 08 and 09. So what actions do you need to take in the way of making your financial future more secure so you can have greater peace of mind? What are those nagging questions in the back of your mind? Do you need a better game plan for how to invest your 401k assets? Do you need to sign up for more life insurance? Do you need to set up a will or revise your wills and trusts and powers of attorney? Do you need to create a family budget? Or what about organizing your financial records so your loved ones would know where everything is, God forbid something ever happens to you? The list is endless, but don't let it overwhelm you. Start tomorrow with the simplest step you can, and then another one the next day, and so on. Okay, the third A is accountability. So the definition of accountability is interesting. It's an obligation of an individual to accept responsibility for their actions and to disclose them in a transparent manner. In life, accountability is a wonderful skill that many people have developed. And in my experience, most of the successful people I've met in my life have been highly accountable individuals. They accept responsibility for the good and the bad, as well as not making excuses for the undesirable outcomes in life. And when you're accountable, you can hold your head high and feel good and have a great deal of self-respect for what you're doing. A simple way to develop a greater sense of accountability is through a set of habits I learned from Dan Sullivan, who's the creator of the Strategic Coach. They're simple, but they're very powerful. First, show up on time. Second, do what you say you're going to do. Third, finish what you start. And I added a fourth one, which is say I'm sorry first. If you own it and you do it quickly and you're the one that says you're sorry first, it makes all the difference in the world. Now, these very simple actions help you become accountable, and imagine what our world would be like if we all took more personal responsibility and followed these 4 basic concepts. During the most stressful days of 2007, 8, and 9, I had plenty of opportunities to work on my accountability. I was ultimately responsible for getting my family in a situation where we owned the 2 homes. I thought we could sell the old house quickly and at a fair price, and we turned down a full price offer before we even had our house on MLS. And then secondly, in our second escrow, I wanted out of contract because that particular buyer was not someone I felt I could do business with. So these were very difficult pills to swallow. And then when the financial crisis hit, the buck also stopped with me because I was responsible for client portfolios, and I had to deliver the good news as well as the bad. And that's how I always would do it, is just very, very cleanly share the news, whatever it was, and clients respected that. You know, whenever you make a mistake, I've made it a point to make the client aware as soon as possible and then let them know how I'm going to fix it. Saying I'm sorry first when you're dealing with a difficult or an uncomfortable situation says a lot about who you are. Being accountable also keeps you humble because we all make mistakes. It's what we really do about them that matters. Okay, the 4th A is accomplishments, both the big ones and the small ones. Reflecting on the major accomplishments in my life reminded me of what I had done and renewed my self-confidence when the tank was low. Many accomplishments, such as talking with a client at 9 p.m. on a Thursday night to make sure that they understood the day's events in the global financial crisis, how it impacted them, really sent them a message. It let them know that somebody cared about them and their situation and that they weren't alone. Perhaps they slept a little bit better that night. I know I could put my head on the pillow that night knowing I had done what I could that day to help clients through a very difficult time. Don't you just feel good when you know you've put in a good day's work or you've done your job really, really well? Most major accomplishments are comprised of a bunch of mini accomplishments. And just like accrued interest, I love this saying, just like accrued interest, over time it really adds up. So the point of celebrating accomplishments, both the big and the small, is it helps renew and restore your self-confidence. Self-confidence, self-esteem, self-respect all start with self-love. Love of self is about forgiving yourself, cutting yourself some slack, not cutting yourself down privately or even worse, publicly. The more you acknowledge your accomplishments and renew your self-love, the easier it will be to follow what I like to call rule number 1, protect your confidence. When you're confident, you feel better. You have a bounce in your step, you feel on top of your game, and that's a powerful attractant. With that, good things start to happen. Some may call it luck, some may call it good fortune, but who doesn't want more good things happening to them? If that's the case, then protecting your confidence is rule number 1. Another benefit of feeling more confident is you feel more resilient. Problems just slide off your back like Teflon. You've got more courage, creativity, and you likely feel more capable. This energy has a tendency to spiral upward and take you along with it. So once again, as we've gone through all of these foundational life skills and habits, they're not meant to be exclusive to personal finance. However, by developing these new habits and capabilities in our lives, we become better equipped to handle the stress and the worry and the fear that pops up. Money is a stressful subject, whether you don't have enough or you have too much. Money creates all kinds of stress, worry, and fear, and money makes people emotional. If you're going to be a better investor and make changes to how you're managing your 401k, then we need to help train you to do a better job of making sure emotions aren't getting in the way of smart decisions and that you're better equipped to handle the stress that inevitably pops up in life. The 4A formula has been my personal cornerstone for what I think is attributed to my success personally and professionally over the last 5 years, and I sure hope that you benefit from some of what I've shared today. Okay, now I want to share a real life story of my dear friend and longtime client. Let's call him Dave. He's married, he's 54 years old with 2 college-age children, and he and his wife Mary have been dutiful 401k investors for almost 25 years. They've made contributions every paycheck, they've maxed out their contributions in most years, and as a successful professional, he knew a bit about investments. He had developed some of his own beliefs regarding how to invest his 401k. He'd watch the market, he'd check his account value daily, probably multiple times on the good days in the market. And over the years, he rode the wave up and down, good markets and bad, following buy and hold principles to a T. However, one day I asked Dave this question: what keeps you up at night financially? He said, Jim, I call those my 2 a.m. fears. And the first is that I don't feel confident about what I'm doing with my 401k. I feel more lucky than skilled. Second is I don't have a strategy to protect my life savings during difficult market environments, like the next 2008. And then he said, I also worry that maybe what we've saved won't be enough for my wife and I to have a comfortable retirement. So I asked him the next question, which was if this was a recurring fear or something that was more chronic. And he said without hesitation that this was something that happened to him over and over again, particularly when the markets were bad. So when I introduced him to the concept that we'd created a system for making customized investment recommendations specific to his company investment choices, and that we would also recommend when he should change the mix of his investments and potentially be out of the market partially or completely, so he no longer had to blindly follow last century's main investment mantra of buy and hold, or what I like to refer to as buy, hold, and hope, I knew I had just created the solution to Dave's 2 a.m. fear. I later asked myself how many other people share Dave's fear. And after having worked with hundreds and hundreds of 401k participants over the past 15 years, I believe it's most. I believe most people have a fear around they don't really know what they're doing and don't feel confident with what they're doing. I've seen the blank stare on someone's face when I've asked them if they have a strategy for managing their 401k, or if they know what funds they're invested in, or when was the last time you made a change to your investment mix. That's not a comfortable feeling for you, and I desperately want to change how you feel about your 401k. That's why I've created the 401k Advantage, with a vision of advising thousands and thousands of hardworking, dutiful 401k investors who are tired of feeling lost or stuck, and they want a strategy they can follow that's based on years of experience of managing retirement money, not just based on hoping everything works out okay. If you've got a strategy and you can follow it step by step, this is going to give you greater peace of mind over time. And if you remember in video number 1, I said that hope is a virtue. And it's a powerful one, but hope is not a strategy. The 401k Advantage gives you a customized strategy to follow, step by step, specific to the investments that are inside your company 401k. We're going to talk more about this at the end of the next video series, at the end of the next video, pardon me. But let's go back to what we've covered in this video today. The 4A formula: attitudes, actions, accountability, and accomplishments. Next was what I call rule number 1, protect your confidence. And the third item today was the solution to Dave's 2 a.m. fears and the story of how I created the 401k Advantage. So here's what I'd like you to do next. Start with just one of the 4A formula cornerstones. I'd vote for using gratitude, but you choose whichever one you want and start using it tonight or tomorrow morning. Next is write down 3 things that make you feel confident. Is it being on time? Is it looking great? Is it being well rested? Is it having a clean car? Whatever it is, keep it with you throughout the day as a reminder of what you can do about protecting your self-confidence. So as we wrap up, I just want to express how grateful I am for this opportunity to share with you what I've learned over the years. I am very passionate about wanting to help you have a better financial future with greater peace of mind, and I hope this video has helped in some small way move you forward on your path. If you've enjoyed the video, please don't keep it a secret. Share it with those who came to mind while you were watching the video. And finally, keep an eye out for video number 3 in this series in the next couple of days. Thanks very much.